Can Charles Overton make the harp hip? The working musician, a recent Berklee College of Music grad, loves showing off the versatility of his instrument.
You can make the harp sound like a bass. Like kind of like a Spanish guitar. Make it sound like bells.
Allowing the harp to fit many styles of music. Of course, there's wedding music. There's Celtic music. And there's bossa nova. The Richmond, Virginia native first plucked the strings at the urging of his fourth-grade music teacher.
One day she just came up to me and was just like, "You really need to play the harp." I wound up taking a trial lesson and I really loved it.
Charles's love for the instrument grew when he took a chance lesson with legendary BSO principal harpist Ann Hobson Pilot, the first African-American to hold that role.
She told me about this program called the Boston University Tanglewood Institute, which is basically like a high school orchestra camp. And I went there the summer after 8th grade, and I just loved it. I fell in love with classical music.
Charles then enrolled in a prestigious performing arts boarding school in northern Michigan, where he made another connection. His teacher there had also taught the current Boston Symphony Orchestra principal harpist, Jessica Zhao.
I first heard of Charles from my high school teacher at Interlochen Arts Academy. I remember him being extremely talented. He had a beautiful sound, which was very unique.
Charles and Zhao's paths crossed again when he moved to Boston to attend Berklee. He asked Zhao to give him lessons, and his dedication and talent won him the chance to perform with the BSO.
I was thinking maybe he will show up once every month or twice a month at most, but he ended up coming weekly lessons.
But to Charles, there's much more to harp than classical music.
I'm so honored to have the opportunity to play with such amazing orchestras. At the same time, a lot of what you do in the symphony orchestra is wait a lot.
Which is why he's continued to write his own music and play at venues large and small, like this recent appearance at Outpost 186 in Cambridge. His quartet, the Charles Overton Group, released its first album in 2017. With the world of harpists predominantly female, Charles stands out for his gender and race, but Jessica Zhao says his sound is universal.
The more his career has blossomed, it's becoming a topic that people, talk about. It really was very, very good.
For now, Charles is happy to keep all his options open, and he says, don't think of him as a harpist. He'd rather be seen as a musician.
I've been super blessed to have the opportunity to perform with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, New York Philharmonic, the Boston Pops. Just all these opportunities have come my way, and I can't believe it. I'm living my dream, and it's just super exciting.
If you're at the Little Big Diner in Newton, chances are you're dialed into that delectable bowl of ramen in front of you. But look up a minute and peek into head chef Greg Stalilanis' kitchen. See that line cook focused on creating the perfect rice bowl? Does he look a little young? Well, Bobby Danliker is still in high school, but he's no restaurant rookie. He's worked at some of the area's best-known restaurants since he was a preteen.
I pestered the owner of a restaurant in Cambridge for a week before he talked to me, but when he did, I took the opportunity and ran with it, and it's been 6 years now.
The story goes, a 12-year-old Bobby and his grandmother were dining at Cambridge's Craigie-on-Main when Bobby became fascinated by the action in the kitchen.
We have these seats right outside the kitchen here called the ringside seats, and he was sitting there and he was looking at us in an inquisitive way that was different than what most people would do.
At first, Chef Moz and his team thought Bobby's interest was fleeting, but young Bobby was persistent, even writing a letter saying he wanted to learn the ropes.
Called the restaurant every single day for about a week. Sure enough, he eventually called me back.
Showed a level of sincerity and genuineness out the way he was approaching food. It was very heartwarming as someone, who madly loves food the way we do.
Chef Moz chatted with Bobby's parents, saying he was going to take the apprenticeship seriously if everyone else would too.
If we're going to teach him how to be in a professional kitchen, let's do it right. He remained incredibly committed for all those years.
For the first couple months, my job was cleaning herbs in the basement. Went to observing different sorts of butchery and stock making techniques, and then I was a line cook.
Bobby believes those years at Craigie on Main and later Kirkland Tap and Trotter, Tony's other restaurant, changed his life.
I really am humbled by how much of a risk he took having me in the kitchen. You know, I was very young and inexperienced, but he saw something in me.
Bobby's reputation grew, leading Little Big Diner to pursue him when he left his last gig.
He had such great energy and was just such a great person that I really wanted him to bring that energy and be a part of the team here.
Bobby's parents saw his talent at an early age.
He made his own lunch, he made his own breakfast, going back to preschool age. Eventually, he made Thanksgiving dinner, decided he wanted to work at a restaurant.
The best thing about having a kid who can cook gourmet meals?
We had some of the best dinners on the planet at home sometimes, you know, when he feels in the mood to cook for us.
Bobby's next step? College for a business-centered program that incorporates hospitality so he can eventually open his own eatery, perhaps serving Southeast Asian cuisine.
I'm part Chinese, and so I've always had a sort of fascination with Asian cooking. I love that sort of, you know, like salty, sour, like sweet flavor combination.
Either way, his employers past and present agree that Bobby has what it takes to make it big, even if his future restaurant might compete with theirs.
For him, the sky's the limit. He has the possibility to just run with this.
I think Bobby can do whatever he wants to do. I think he's got a great future.
As a matter of journalistic integrity, we tasted some of Bobby's cooking and can report it is divine.
You know what, Bobby? I think you have a future. I think you're gonna be just fine, just fine.
Next,
we engineer microorganisms, bacteria and yeast, to do stuff.
Stuff you won't believe.